I was 11 years old when it happened, a night that carved itself into my bones and never let go. My brother Tom and our friend James were inseparable back then, bound by the reckless courage of childhood and the sprawling smallholding James's family owned in the English countryside. Their land was vast by UK standards, 3, maybe 4 acres of untamed fields, patchy woods, and crumbling structures that felt ancient even to us kids. Our playground, a kingdom of adventure where we'd spend endless summer days building forts, chasing each other through knee-high grass, or daring one another to climb the gnarled oak at the property's edge. But it was the nights that held a different kind of magic, darker, wilder, like the land itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to slip through the cracks. We'd slept over at James's house countless times, but this night was different. It was late summer, the air thick with the scent of cut hay and the distant hum of crickets. The 3 of us were restless, buzzing with that jittery energy kids get when they're up past bedtime, daring each other to push the boundaries. Hide and seek was our game of choice, but we wanted to make it unforgettable. "Let's play it in the dark," James said, his eyes glinting with mischief. "No lights, no rules, just us and the night." "Tom, Alwa." Yes, the bold one, grinned and nodded. I hesitated, a prickle of unease crawling up my spine, but I wasn't about to be the coward. So we agreed we'd play in complete darkness, with one twist to make it fair. The seeker would carry a torch, and every few minutes the hiders had to call out, a shout, a laugh, anything to give a clue to their location. It was a game designed to thrill, to teeter on the edge of fear. We had no idea how far over that edge. Gee, we'd fall. We rolled dice to decide the seeker, and fate pointed at me. My stomach twisted as I gripped the heavy flashlight, its beam cutting a pale slice through the inky blackness. James and Tom vanished into the night, their footsteps crunching on gravel before fading into silence. I counted to 60, my voice barely a whisper, trying to ignore the way the darkness seemed to press against me, heavy and alive. Then I stepped out into the yard, the house's warm glow shrinking behind me as I ventured into the void. The first few minutes were exhilarating. The small holding was a maze of hiding spots, rusted machinery, overgrown hedges, the skeletal frames of old greenhouses. I swept the torch in wide arcs, catching glints of dew on grass or the fleeting shadow of a startled animal. Every so often, a shout would pierce the night, James's high-pitched laugh or Tom's taunting, "You'll never find us," and I'd pivot, chasing the sound. I came close once, spotting the hem of Tom's jacket as he ducked behind a stack of crates, but he slipped away, his laughter trailing like a ghost. The game felt alive, electric, a dance of predator and prey under the starless sky. But the thrill began to sour as I wandered deeper into the property, farther from the house than I'd ever gone at night. The air grew colder, the silence thicker, as if the world was holding its breath. I was near the far boundary, a good 100 meters from the house, where the land dipped into a shadowy hollow. To my left, a cluster of dilapidated greenhouses loomed, their glass panes cracked and clouded with grime. Ahead, a large shed squatted, its weathered wood blending into the darkness. Beyond it, a dense tree line marked the edge of the property, where the world seemed to drop away into the unknown. I was alone. The torch's beam trembling in my hand. I was about to turn back, convinced the others had doubled back toward the house, when something caught my eye. A flash, fleeting and unnatural, at the edge of the light. I swung the torch left, toward a pile of logs stacked haphazardly beside the nearest greenhouse. There, for a split second, I saw them. 2 glowing eyes low to the ground, reflecting the beam like polished silver. My heart lurched. A fox. Maybe? A cat? But the eyes were wrong. Too large, too steady, unblinking. I froze, waiting for them to move, to blink, to do something. But when I took a step forward, they were gone, swallowed by the dark as if they'd never been. My breath hitched, shallow and quick. I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination running wild. I took a few cautious steps toward the logs, the torch shaking in my grip. The silence was deafening now, the kind T. That makes your ears ring with anticipation. And then, out of nowhere, I heard it. "Danny? My name?" Whispered so softly it was barely audible, yet so close it felt like it brushed against my ear. My brother's voice. Tom's voice. Unmistakable, familiar, yet chillingly wrong. It wasn't a shout, not a call like the rules demanded. It was intimate, deliberate, like he was standing right beside me. My skin prickled, every hair standing on end. I spun the torch beam slicing through the darkness, but there was nothing. Just the shed, the logs, the tree line looming like a wall of shadow. "Danny." The whisper came again, sharper this time, from just beyond the shed. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic rhythm that drowned out the night. It was Tom's voice, I was sure of it, but something about it was off, too soft, too hollow, like a recording played through a bad speaker. I took a S. Tapped toward the shed, my legs trembling, the torch beam wobbling across its peeling paint. I was about to peer around the corner to confront whatever was hiding there when the night exploded. Screams, real screams, raw and terrified, shattered the silence. James and Tom, their voices unmistakable, crying out from the opposite end of the property, back near the house, easily 200 feet away. My brain stuttered, trying to make sense of it. If they were there, screaming for me, then who or what had just whispered my name? The realization hit like a physical blow, a wave of icy dread that locked my joints and stole my breath. Whatever had spoken wasn't my brother. It wasn't human. It was here, right behind the shed, waiting for me to step closer. The glowing eyes, the whisper, the suffocating darkness, it all crashed together and my body screamed at me to run. I bolted, the torch beam bouncing wildly as I sprinted toward the distant glow of the house. My screams tore from my throat, raw and desperate, mingling with the echoes of James and Tom's cries. I didn't dare look back, didn't dare glance at the shed or the tree line or the logs where those eyes had burned. The ground was uneven, roots and rocks snagging at my feet, but I didn't stop. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, but the terror was louder, a primal instinct that drow net out everything else. Whatever was back there, whatever had called my name, I could feel it watching, its presence like a weight pressing against my back. I don't know how long I ran, seconds, minutes, an eternity, but suddenly James and Tom were there, their faces pale and wide-eyed, grabbing my arms as we stumbled back toward the house. We burst through the door, collapsing in a heap on the kitchen floor, our breaths ragged, our voices overlapping as we tried to explain. I babbled about the eyes, the whisper, the shed, but the words felt inadequate, like trying to describe a nightmare to someone who'd never felt fear. James's parents listened, their faces tight with concern, but I could tell they didn't believe me. They chalked it up to kids scaring themselves silly, the darkness playing tricks. I wanted to scream at them, to make them understand the bone-deep terror that still pulsed through me, but I had no proof, no words to capture it. 2 weeks later, James's dad was out near the same spot, fixing a fence in the fading light of dusk. He came back to the house, his face gray, his hands shaking. He didn't say much, just that he'd heard a voice. His own name, whispered in a tone he swore was his wife's, though she'd been inside cooking dinner. He never went back to that corner of the property after dark. We never played hide and seek again, not on that land, not anywhere. That night changed something in me, etched a truth I couldn't unlearn. There are things in the dark, things that know your name, things that watch and wait. I'm older now, and I've tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a trick of the wind, a prank gone wrong, an animal with reflective eyes. But deep down, I know better. I heard it, I felt it, and I'll carry that dread with me for the rest of my life. A reminder that some boundaries between the known and the unknown, the safe and the sinister, are thinner than we think.